Yeah, I met Roberto about 30 years ago. He was working for Vittorio Trattoria, great, flamboyant as ever, and I thought he would make the best little restaurant owner. So I had an opportunity with that little building on Young Street. I immediately called Roberto and Lucia and I said, this is it. This is where you should be. And there goes all the credit. He takes all the credit for Grano.
Well, I'm not sure where I would begin, but because the context is all about our intertwined lives of food and Canadian wine, my first thought is to tell you that I first met the Martellas back in the mid-'80s when they first opened Grano. And my reason for meeting them was that I was a server at Centro on Yonge Street when it first opened. And every day I would be sent down the street from Castlefield to Manor Road to pick up the bread for service at the restaurant that evening. And it made perfect sense to me that this was the way things were done. We'd bake close by and then somebody would pick it up and literally walk into the next restaurant and be consumed that night. And Roberto became a bit of a beacon for me in the restaurant world in terms of making things from scratch and hospitality, etc., etc. I was 20 years old at the time. And that's how I first met Roberto Martella.
25 years now, it's incredible. I remember the first time going there, finding the address was 1986 Yonge Street, I think. And that's the same year the address is the year he opened.
I first met Mr. Martella in 1984 or 1985, and I swear he was no larger in girth than am I. He and Lucia came to my restaurant Orso, which was using a beautiful Italian pottery from Vietri outside Positano made by Solimene, and asked if I had any broken pieces for their new venture, Grano. And I had buckets of broken plates, as I had only hired the ham-handed, hoping to keep them off the street. And I thought this man was brilliant and a godsend. And I passed on my broken china, which they embedded in the walls of Grano with great pleasure. And from there, a friendship that matters most importantly to me was developed.
I met Roberto 15 years ago when my husband and I opened up our first restaurant, one block south of Grano's. And we went in there and knocked on the door, walked right in, and asked him for an olive oil supplier. We were desperate to find one. We were new to the city. And it was like walking into someone's home. His graciousness was mind-blowing for us. He said, here you go. He opened up his big book of information and handed us a couple of phone numbers, said, give them a call, mention my name. Is there anything I can do for you? And I think that really sums up his whole approach to life and to his friends and his hospitality. He opens the doors to you.
So, Ontario. Well, perhaps, as you know, I've coined this word, Ontario, O-N, capital T-E-R-R-I-O, which is at once a bilingual reading of Ontario, our beloved province, but also a suggestion that the products that come out of the earth really define us as Ontarians.
But what's beautiful about the Grano experience, what I really like about it is nothing is kind of in your face there. It's not, oh, you know, look at all our wonderful Italian wines, look at our wonderful Italian food, and look at our wonderful Ontario wines. He just blends it all into the whole experience of going to Grano. So it just feels totally natural that you should have some local wine because you're in a Toronto restaurant. Let's have some wines that come from that area. and the whole thing just feels very, very natural.
26 years ago, I remember having, and Don will permit me to say this, Donald Ziraldo, we used to have Inniskill and Chardonnay on the list. And I'll never forget, in the first year or so, taking a bottle of the Chardonnay to a table, Inniskill and Chardonnay to a table, and someone at the table, no, not that. No, I didn't want that Canadian wine. No, not that. We have much greater sense now of what's capable in Ontario. The cheeses, the meats, the cured meats, the vegetables, etc. We're much more sensitive to local. And I dare say it's precisely this one, Vino Canadese, Vino dell'Ontario. We like to market, we call it Vini Canadesi here at Grano on our wine list.
Roberto was somehow different because he was about local. So many Italian restaurants at that time, and still even today, kind of in a way are theatrical. They're about recreating some idea of what Italy is in our heads. And that's not really what restaurants are like in Italy. They're really about local as much as possible, local ingredients and fresh and simple techniques. And he did that here. But he used local ingredients, and he wasn't afraid to have local wines. So many Italian restaurants had almost all Italian wine lists, and he didn't do that. That was a great thing from the beginning.
I can't think of a single restaurateur who personifies the traditions of hospitality better than does my dear friend Roberto Dante Martella.
Roberto and Lucia Martella at Grano have been invaluable partners to all of us in the wine industry. They are proudly supportive of our wines. They initiate dialogues. They make sure that everybody's trying our wines, and we're so grateful to them for being part of our lives, and we hope to be part of theirs for the next 25 years. And grazie tante a lei, Roberto. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but it doesn't really matter.